There is nothing that could make me hate 50 Cent, and especially after this. He has literally just dropped this on his actual TikTok. Sean Diddy Combs' jury selection for trial is finally complete. If only, because if anyone's going to shed some goss on Diddy, it's always going to be 50 Cent. The guy is a legend.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine if Diddy got a jury of all 50s? He'd be in a corner crying. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news.
Can you imagine if Diddy ended up with a jury full of 50 Cent fans? He might break down on the spot. Hey, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your go-to for the latest in celebrity news. Let's get into this, because things are getting wild in the Diddy trial. We're only 5 days in, and it's already chaos. Seriously, there are reports of missing witnesses, jurors dropping out due to safety concerns, and Diddy's legal team pushing the narrative that Cassie was actually the aggressor in their relationship. That's right, they're claiming she was the one putting hands on him. But now things have taken another shocking turn. One of Diddy's former bad boy associates is allegedly preparing to testify against him. According to sources, prosecutors dropped a bombshell on Friday. Former bad boy manager James Cruz is expected to take the stand during the trial. Here's the twist. Despite popular belief, Cruz isn't coming forward to defend Diddy. Nope. He's reportedly going to be a key witness for Cassie. Once word got out that James Cruz was testifying for the prosecution, the internet went wild. People were basically saying, "Oh, that's it. Diddy's done." In fact, check out what YouTuber Ticket TV had to say about the whole situation.
The big news is this. The man you see on the right-hand side of your screen, his name is James Cruz. He is the former president of Bad Boy Records since 2018. James Cruz, the former president of Bad Boy, will be testifying against Sean Combs. So this is your right-hand man, your president, that's getting ready to give you up. This is not something that's made up. And today it came up in court today, in the filings in court today came up. In the filings in court today, that he is going to testify. Now, let's get right to it, because I want you guys to hear what the homegirl, Khadijah Lynn, had to say today, too. Salute to her.
And that's not even all. We also learned that one of Diddy's co-workers, James Cruz, is about to testify against Diddy. And in Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, she actually talks about James Cruz. She said after the hotel incident that we all saw broadcasted on CNN, she ran to her friend's home in Florida. James Cruz, the president of Bad Boy, tracked her down and told her that her single would not be released if she did not answer Diddy's phone calls. And now the judge just ruled and accepted that James Cruz is going to testify against Diddy during this trial. And this is big news, because we know he's not testifying on Diddy's behalf, but he's testifying to the fact that he had difficulties promoting Cassie Ventura, because that was his job for Bad Boy Records, was to promote her. So basically saying her career didn't end up going anywhere. It's a big deal, because this is going to be one of the examples to try to prove the coercion in Diddy's trafficking charge of Cassie Ventura.
Now, that is a major situation. That's major information right there. Because, as I told you guys, now you're starting to see the witnesses come forward. So, as I told you guys, and I'm going to say it again, it's over with for these clowns. It's going to be some slow singing and flower bringing starting on Monday.
Shout out to Ticket TV and Cadlin, both phenomenal YouTubers doing great work. But as you already know, when it comes to the whole Diddy situation, I tend to see things a bit differently. I'm not fully convinced that James Cruz is going to be the secret weapon for Cassie that the prosecution seems to think he is. Let's not forget, 50 Cent has not exactly vouched for Cruz in the past. In fact, 50 has made some wild claims about him. He once said, "Whatever you do, you can't trust James Cruz." According to 50, Cruz was allegedly one of Diddy's many concubines, and he accused them of getting into some wild stuff down in Miami. In one of his infamous tweets, 50 wrote, "This cokehead James Cruz worked for Chris Lighty. He didn't make no deals, he was just in the meetings. Puffy played with his butt in Miami. Ask him about the weird stuff they were into. Don't ask him about me." Now, to be fair, because I always try to show both sides, Tony Yayo appeared on Vlad TV and addressed those claims. Even though he rocks with 50, Yayo said he doesn't believe Cruz was out here bouncing on Diddy's lap like that.
That's why I don't like James Cruz.
Why? I saw his interview too.
Yeah, I don't like him at all. Like, cause he's a sucker. Like the whole time he was still going to go see Jimmy, hanging out. Meanwhile, Jimmy's getting Mike Lighty cut in the back of the head, and everything else, and everything else is going on. He's a punk. Like when you see people that, like, they're just fearful of. We said respect comes from admiration or fear. One or the other, right? His respect for Jimmy comes from fear. So he's a sucker in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? And then he's a sucker. I didn't understand why Chris wanted him around. You know what I'm saying? Like when happened with Lil' Kim out front, D-Rock, him. Yo, come out from behind the red car, they got us. That's what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why is this nigga around us? And the Christmas was like dealing with him because he had like a background. Because he had a radio background, he always looked like he should get a.
Additionally, many people have alleged that one time James Cruz was at a party with Diddy, and while he was there, Diddy was all over him like white on rice.
What's going on? I want to talk about James Cruz. It's very funny that I found his name on a particular video that I watched not too long ago. I've been looking for this guy for the past week and a half. I remember writing a blog on him, but I forgot his name. And I wrote this blog some years ago, and it was about him and Puffy at this New Year's Eve party that was hosted by Diddy. And the whole entire day leading up to the New Year's party, Puff showed himself on Instagram Live. He ran a lot of Instagram Lives and then left them as stories. Now they're no longer able to be found. I can't find them on the internet on other sites. But let me tell you what happened. It was a lead up. So of course it was all day long. He wanted us to have the inside of, of how he gets prepared for the day, getting a haircut. But during the daytime, I'm watching and I said to myself, man, it looks like P. Diddy, and I wrote this in the blog, it looks like he's under the influence of possibly something along the lines of ecstasy. I don't know. But now I do know that he fucks around with Tusi, which is also known as pink cocaine, that has a lot of different things in it, like fentanyl, LSD, MDMA, and other stuff. And they dye it with pink dye, which makes it turn the color pink. And so as the day goes along, he's walking around and he's all up on James Cruz. I mean, I'm talking about, like, imagine if you're a male and you're standing next to a female. You know, like how some guys would get all up on her, like if you standing behind her, how you be all close, tight on her, you wanted to be able to feel your shit. Like he was doing shit like that with this dude, James Cruz. And James Cruz was not resisting Puffy's advances, if I'm correct, in my observation. He was smiling and laughing, and you know, people got they smiling, laughing, talking, looking at one another like, yo, it's like we know a little bit more than what they know. And yeah, I like this, so when you're doing this, and I said in the blog that I wrote, I said, damn, I think they probably at the end of the night.
So I'm sharing this information with you to drive home the fact that over the years, many people, including 50 Cent, have alleged that James Cruz and Diddy's relationship transcends simply being co-workers. Ironically, during an interview with another Bad Boy employee, James Cruz sat there and kikied over the fact that when it came to himself, and some of the other dudes that used to work at Bad Boy Diddy used to be over there acting like a jealous ex-girlfriend.
I'm like, Puff Daddy calling you stupid. And this time, this is P. Diddy. This is the guy I don't like. There's 5 personalities. We'll get into that later. But P. Diddy's the one I don't like. You got Puff Daddy, you got Puffy, you got P. Diddy, you got Sean, and you got Diddy. Okay? Starts with Sean, then it goes to Puff. I love Sean, I love Puff. Then it goes to P. Diddy. I don't want to be in the same room with that man. Then it goes to Diddy. And P. Diddy calling me stupid, and I go, huh? He goes, you know retail, you know marketing, you know marketing endorsement deals, you know promotion, you go and learn management, there'll be no stopping you. And right there, he picks up the phone and calls Chris Lighty and says, I'm loaning you my #1 guy.
Okay, so me knowing Puff, he was ready for you to get out the building.
Yeah, he was done. He was done.
Puff don't let no, like Puff is like the jealous girlfriend. If anybody is looking at you, he's like, hell no.
No, but see.
I want you to catch this during that same interview. James Cruz said that P. Diddy's like family to him. And as a matter of fact, him and his wife basically raised P. Diddy's son.
How do you get back with Puff?
Puff was going out on tour, and he was going out on the Puff Pass tour with Snoop. And we went to Europe, and you know, he gave us a shot. And Chris went out for the first 2 days and then disappeared. And I stayed out for 2 weeks, and actually it was 3 weeks, almost a month. And you know, our friendship started to gel. our understanding of one another, you know. And it's funny, I tell a funny story. Where I had just done the same tour a month and a half before with Busta, and then 3 months before with 50. So I was getting upgraded in every hotel room that I would get. I would get the presidential suite. So, Mr. Cruz, you're here again. You know, all the money you spend, they're going to upgrade you. And Uncle Paulie came to my room one time, knocked on the door.
Uncle Paulie?
His security guard.
Okay, Puff security.
Puff security. Mm-hmm. And opens the door. He says, wow, look at your room. And 5 minutes later, Puff came to my door. What's up with that room, yo? What you doing? I need that. And I'm like, oh, man. So I had to give him my room. But it's okay, because the artist always comes first. And that's part of that ego that starts to build up when you're at the top. You gotta humble that ego. You gotta keep that ego at bay, because that ego can just fall into place just like with an artist. So I gave up my room to Puff, and you know, he took the room for the rest of the tour. He was in the biggest room. But we also understood that, hey, I took a step back. And I was still in the place of 50, you know? Because that was a service, and that was the first height that I had ever felt. But Sean's my friend and my brother. We were there, my wife and I were there when Christian was born. You know, we raised Justin. So there's a difference between performing a service and being part of a family.
What would you say is your greatest personal trait that has helped you in the area of management?
Personal trait? Doing whatever it takes.
So let me explain why I'm extremely leery of James Cruz. 150 Cent said, you can't trust him to when you have a dude who says that Diddy's like family to him and he's willing to do whatever it takes, good or bad. Then you have to be a little concerned about this dude. Because even though he says that he's getting ready to get up on that stand to defend Cassie, you never know. Because once he gets up on his stand, he might flip the script and defend Diddy, especially if they were secret lovers. Y'all know darn well that when it comes to Pete Diddy, this mess gets complicated anyhow. Hit that like button, and let me get back into it before I continue with my commentary. Let me let you hear this dude who believes that James Cruz, along with Capricorn Clark, are going to be 2 nails in Diddy's coffin.
So this James Cruz guy, the reason why I brought him up is just like what I brought him. He may possibly be a John Doe. These are people like Capricorn Clark is a former assistant of Diddy who referred to Diddy as the devil. So she might be a Jane Doe. I mean, she's worked with him for years, so she would know a lot more than what most people would know. And of course, if you are Homeland Security or some sort of federal agency, you're going to want to get in touch with these people with the hopes that they'll be able to tell you or be willing to tell you, because with her having issues with Puff, she probably wants to see him buried and probably be willing to testify and say these things being listed as a Jane Doe with her name being redacted. With that being stated, going back to it, this James Cruz, he is very, very suspect as far as in his mannerisms. And I think he's a fruity guy. I think he's not straight. I think he's curly. I think he's crooked. Like I was saying, crooked meaning not in a criminal sense. And I think that he's going to be someone that the Feds or Homeland Security, one of those agencies, will want to look into and investigate, being as though he's had some business dealings with Puff in over amount of years.